Sports Media, baby. That's right. Let's get into our analysis today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question is, what is the analysis? And we have to think about that when we witness what happened last night. You can make the argument, does CU have the right personnel, not just coaching, but the right personnel at the right positions? We have to be honest in our analysis, ladies and gentlemen. This is Prime Sports Media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for rocking with me today. Another tough game last night. Let me bring this up. I brought this up. I want to thank everyone that's coming in the chat room. As much as people come in, I know it's a weekend. People have a lot of things to do, spending time with their family. But I think this is a family affair, as most of us that are rocking and following CU, Coach Prime, his players, specifically his sons as well, and seeing their development. And I want to show you this picture of Shedeur, which I think pretty much sums up what the night was. Now, near the end of the game, they did score 19 points late in the game to 26. And you would say, once again, this reminded me of the USC game, where late in the game, they looked like they could make a rally to tie this game, to get this game into overtime, maybe possibly win. But unfortunately, like so many other games that they have played in, the clock has run out on them. This right here is Deion Sanders. I think we need to take this picture and really look at it critically, because I think it speaks so much. I think it speaks so much to what his problem has been this season. We clearly witnessed him last night take way too many hits. And I think it's having some effect emotionally. This young man is injured. Coach Prime has admitted that his son is injured, and he had to go back in last night against Oregon State and get a shot. These are not good signs, folks. There are people, and I want to say shout out to Coach Hayes. He had a show last night, and he allowed me to call in when he was at the point of ending his show. And we had a candid conversation. I don't know how many of you out there in the chat room were there to hear. We got Miss Ellen in the house. She's welcome to the mod crew. Of course, Patricia is in the house, one of my mods. Martin, thank you for coming over and watching. Aaron Couch, thank you for coming in the chat room and watching. Anybody that I might have missed, I apologize. I'm not trying to ignore anybody, but our content here, the analysis, because I hope that you all will appreciate my analysis. One of the things that I do on this channel, as I have been preaching to all of you in the chat room, those that are listening, is to somehow find a way to take the emotions out of how you look at what's happening to CU, Coach Prime, his players, and look at it from a logical point of view. I'm going to say again that this is a team comprised of 84 players, in which Coach Prime put this team together within a short amount of time of various guys that came through the transfer portal. But they're also going up against teams of guys that have played together for 1 year, 2 years, 3, maybe even 4. So you've got some teams out here in the Pac-12 that they have gone against that have a little bit more chemistry, or they have a little bit more understanding of what it is that they're trying to do offensively, defensively, in terms of playing together as a team longer. So you got to keep that in mind. We also know that offensive lines are the hardest thing to put together in a short time and create cohesion. I think that that plays a role in what's happening with the offensive line. And then we have to play into question or ponder the question, do they not just have the physical skills? Now, everybody, I'm going to let you look at this once more, because I think Shedeur, this picture sums up the night. He was heavily sacked. I think the Shedeur had 2 fumbles, but 1 was for a loss. I think he had 1 fumble that was recovered by the team, and then there was 1 that was lost. And you saw Shedeur take lots of pressure, lots of hits. And then sometimes I have to be honest, I wonder sometimes why Shedeur doesn't throw the ball away when there's nothing there. I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to create something out of nothing, because his team is either down, they're trying to win, and he's playing with passion and heart. Totally get it. He's out there playing injured, which shows that he has a lot of character. He has a lot of heart. But is it coming at the expense of his physical body currently and emotionally, when we're looking at a young man who I believe has a lot of promise to play at the next level? Coach Prime has been very outspoken. He has come forth and saying that we got to protect this young man, because as we go. At this point in time, you can make the argument that CU is a one-dimensional team with 1 player, which is why the teams are teeing off and trying to blitz him, trying to put pressure. Last night in that game, there was a lot of talk about why the offensive line was being in space. I wonder if they would consider zone blocking, right? But then when you say, well, to zone block, you have to be able to somewhat play in some space. And last night, it was clear that they were struggling to play in space, the offensive line it is, and Shedeur was taking hits. Even when Shedeur got the ball off, he was taking hits. Now, that's football. You're going to get hit. People can get hurt. But the question is, how much can he endure this? I mean, getting shots at halftime, the 2nd game in a row, this is a very difficult prospect here. Tell me how you feel in the chat room. 5%, thank you for coming through, my brother. Tell me all how you feel. I will bring up your comments on the board to read. But I'm speaking about this in a very calm manner because I'm very concerned about, because we have to, I would imagine they want to protect his future. Shedeur is a young man who has great NFL potential. And the last thing we want to see is him get so banged up at this level of college football where it will affect him at the next level. And most importantly than that, they got 3 more games to play against some very tough opponents, y'all. And let's take a look at these opponents right now, shall we? And here we go. On November 11th, they will be playing Arizona, and I believe this will be at Arizona. And Arizona is a physical team. They have played physical all year. Shedeur will have to endure that situation. The offensive line doesn't turn on their juice. Then they're going to be at Washington State, November 17th, which is a very dynamic team. Utah comes in out of all the teams that they've played so far with the best defense. Shedeur will have to endure that situation with an offensive line that is very questionable. We just got to be honest here. I believe in honest analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to say, despite the pressures that Shedeur Sanders has been under, I hope you all can appreciate this. I thank you for all coming in. You know, I run a professional style channel over here, and I can do it because I have great audience like yourself in the chat room, people listening in the clouds who give me a lot of inspiration for what we do. I know you leave comments on videos. I will get to those comments. I know I'm slow at responding to your comments because there's so many comments coming in, but we'll get to them on previous videos that you have left messages. So don't think that I don't appreciate the time that you take to leave comments on videos that I have posted or uploaded or what have you. And even the community posts that I always post various things that I hope that you enjoy. This is the truth about Shedeur Sanders that we need to recognize. Last night, he was 24 for 39. He threw the ball for 245 yards. Let me know if you can hear my mic just well by putting 7s in the chat room. I appreciate that. So he went 24 for 39, 245 yards last night with 2 TDs. His QBR went down in that game last night. It was a QBR of 40.2. That's not technically that good. But despite all of that, you have a quarterback, folks, who's taking a punishment. I want you all to tell me in the chat room, and I don't believe you'll have an answer to this. I really don't think you'll have an answer to this. What quarterback, and I said this last week, what quarterback in the country is capable of doing this? I don't even think the quarterback at USC, Williams, I don't think as good as he is, and yet he has an offensive line in comparison to what Shedeur is enduring. What quarterback in this country today, in this universe, I don't even think a pro quarterback could put up these kind of numbers with taking the hits and having a makeshift offensive line that can't consistently provide just a little bit more protection. I'm talking about consistently over a period of time. There is no quarterback. You see, Shedeur has thrown up to now 28,082 yards. 2882 is his total passing purpose yards for the year. That's more than any other quarterback, I believe. He ranks, he's at the top of his game. He has 24 touchdowns on the year. So despite what he's going through, he still is one of the top quarterbacks in college football and is leading all college football in the FBS at throwing the ball yardage-wise, which tells me that just imagine if Shedeur had an offensive line that would give him just a little bit more protection. Just a little bit. Just. Y'all remember, I'm being funny here. Y'all remember that song back in the day, just a little bit. If they could just give him just a little bit, his numbers would be incredible. He would probably be breaking records left and right. And you would also maybe, just maybe, they would not have a, what is it now, a 4-5 record. They're not going to get to a bowl game. There was an opportunity that was going to happen if they could have went 5-2 at least, but they lost the last few games, which has taken them out of bowl contention. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to all ask yourself, and I thank you for being here. We got Rivers in the house. Thank you for being here. We got Bling. We got MK Bling, Bar, and more. Thank you for being here. Thank you, my sister. She has a great channel for you ladies out there who like jewelry and bracelets and all those fine things. Check out Mrs. MZ Kim, Bling, Bar, and more. She's in the chat room. I want to give her a clap. I want to give her a clap. There we go. I will mod you up because I know you. You follow me on the Information Man Show channel, and my goal is to go live over there later on today. That's my political, social, and cultural channel. So I just wanted to paint that picture that we have to pray and put this brother in our prayers and thoughts about his health, and not only his physical health, but I think we got to concern ourselves with Shedeur's emotional health, because when you're losing games like this and taking punishment, it can actually creep in and make you almost start to doubt yourself. I'm not saying that he is, but I'm saying there is a psychological component. This picture says it all in a nutshell as he's walking off with a towel in his head. This, I'm saying, you could tell from the body language, head down and towel on head, that it was a very difficult game and a tough game to lose in the fashion that they lost the game, folks. So I just want you all to get what I'm saying there. Another problem that we see that is consistently continuing to happen is the rushing. Not enough rushes, not enough carries by the running backs. When I was on Coach Hayes' show last night, I called in his show, we talked for a moment, but during the time that I was watching his program last night, he made a very important statement. Coach Hayes said that the running back for Oregon, I think his name was Martinez. They kept saying Martinez. Do you know he had 22 carries or more for the total amount of carries in just one game against CU? Why is that significant? Because there is no running back on CU's team, Colorado's team, that has had 22 carries or more. That tells you that the commitment to running, logically speaking, has not been there. Why can I say that? Because once again, we had a young man who I'm glad to see him back, and that's Savion Wilkinson.
Information is power.
When we look at Savion Wilkinson, we look at a young man who came over from Jackson State. He had great success at Jackson State, and he came over to join Coach Prime because he had a lot of respect for Coach Prime and what he is trying to do. We've been wondering, where has Savion Savion Ben. There was talk that he was injured. He played last night, but guess what he got? Savion had 4 carries for 17 yards, with his longest run being what we would call 8 yards. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, that's just not good enough. You have a running back for Oregon State that ran for a total of 22 yards last night. And let me give you the statistic. Now, he didn't put up world beater numbers, but I'm going to look over here. I'm going to tell you what that running back did. What I'm basically saying is we have to wonder, why is it that none of the running backs on CU's team have been able to get that type of carry? When you get those type of carries, that simply means that you're committed to the run. Let me look over here. Martinez, that's the running back for Oregon State. Martinez had 21. Let's be correct here. Not 22. He had 21 carries, which is still more than any CU running back has carried this year. And we're already near the end of the season, coming close. Martinez had 21 carries last night for 115 yards. He ran for 115 yards, with 12 yards being his longest run on the night. When you look at CU, only 4 carries for Savion. When you look at Anthony Hankerson, the young man that was with this team just a year ago when they went 1-11, he came in last night. I'm just giving y'all the numbers. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't hate the messenger here. I'm giving you the raw numbers. Anthony Hankerson had only 2 carries for 8 yards, his longest run being 5. The longest. I'm just being honest here. I'm just giving an honest analysis. It's not that the running backs can't run. They're not getting enough carries, and as they become one-dimensional, where they're just throwing the ball, and they start to get, as I've said 1,000 times, as CU begin to get behind in these games, they abandon the run. But the question is, before they get behind in games that they're playing, ladies and gentlemen, you be my guest in the chat room to give your thoughts. Are they truly being committed to the run consistently in the beginning of the game before they begin to get behind against teams like Oregon State? I give you the analysis. I've given you concrete and logical conversation, not emotions. The importance of running the ball is that you can control the clock. You can control time of possession. Time of possession.
How'd you get that mixed with your combo?
These fries and rings.
Turn that down. Let me take that off the board there. Sorry about that, folks. I had a website that was on, and a video audio came in through my mix board. I'm sorry about that. I should have had that muted down. Time of possession, very important. Oregon State had 35 minutes and 58 seconds of time of possession. That controls the clock through running the ball. So if they running back ran for 115 yards last night with 21 carries, that adds to their time of possession. CU, Colorado, had 24 minutes and 2 seconds of time of possession. So it's obvious that Oregon State dominated time of possession. Time of possession is very important because you can control the game, and that usually employs running the ball. So you see, they're continuing to have these same problems. Another thing, first downs, total yards last night. Oregon State had 418 total yards, ladies and gentlemen, while CU had 238 yards total offense. So Oregon dominated in that area. First downs, due to time of possession, Oregon State had 25 first downs last night. CU only was able to gain 15. I'm telling you, 15 first downs last night. These are problems. Rush attempt, going back to what I was saying. When we look at Dylan Edwards and what he did last night, this is getting back to the scope of things. Dylan Edwards only had 5 carries, 6 yards for a rush, his longest run being only 2 yards. Once again, the running back, excuse me. Excuse me, everybody. Had a little bit of a cough. All right. Dylan, excuse me, everybody. Dylan Edwards' longest run was 2 yards long. You can't win football games like that, folks. Excuse me. Let me get some more water here. I appreciate you all coming over. You can't win football games like that. You have one running back from Oregon State who was able to carry the ball more than all of the running backs that CU has. And when you only put up those kind of numbers running or those many carries, you're not really giving yourself an opportunity to have some time of possession that can lead to you winning the game. It's very clear to me. I'm just giving you the analysis. And it's not, I'm going to say it again. It's not that these guys cannot put up numbers. We already witnessed and experienced what Dylan Edwards did against TCU. We saw that he could go out there, he could ball out and make things happen. Remember this right here? Against TCU, we were all very excited. Buffs win. That was against TCU. We were all very excited about Dylan Edwards, right? Well, what happened in that game? Dylan Edwards had quite a few carries, quite a few snaps, and they were consistently putting him in the right situation. Last night, he was not able to generate what was necessary to forge a balanced offense. Once again, that puts Shador in jeopardy of getting hurt, taking late hits, because you know these guys are looking to get their hands on Shador because, you know, you have jealousy out there. Some of these guys want to make a mark, make a name for themselves to put a hit on Shador. And of course, we know that Coach Prime is not happy about what's going on. The question I want to bring up to you all, as much as we, because I know Coach Hayes talked about this on his show last night. How many of you in the chat room, by a sign of votes, believe that the problems currently with CU has more to do with coaching? If you think that the problem with this team has to do with coaching, I want you to put a 1 in the chat room. If you think that the issue with the team lies squarely on players, put a 2 in the chat room. If you think that it's really player driven and not coach driven, or if you think it's coach driven, put a 1. I want to see what your thoughts are. Let's see real quick. All right. 5% says 1, so he believes that it's coach driven. J.D. Hill says 1. Miss Love says 1. Thank you for coming over, my sister. Optimus Optimistic says 2, believes it's players. It's fair. We have to be fair here. MZ Kim Bling Bar and more says 1. Make sure that you all, particularly for the ladies in the chat room, check out the sister's channel. She actually does sort of like, she displays beautiful jewelry, necklaces that some of you may enjoy and may be interested in purchasing. We got Ellen in the house, and I want to thank Ellen. She's a mod on Coach Hayes' channel. Shout out to him. And they have been very respectful to me, and they've been very open to me over there. They've been promoting my channel over there, and I appreciate that, so I give her a clap. I got to give you a clap, Ellen, and Coach Hayes at the same time. Let's get these sound effects working right. Thank you. Let's see here. We got Patricia, one of my great mods in the chat room. She puts 1. She believes it's coaching. Let's go over here. I want to just get y'all thoughts. Mrs. Ivy. Oh, you must be an AKA, huh? I'm an alpha, just so you know, Miss Ivy. 06 to you. Spring 1989 for me. San Francisco State. Ski weed to you. She has put 1, and that's for the she believes that it's that it's coaching. Let's go over here to my brother right here, Phoenix, who says one-time management issue. He believes, so it looks like everybody is on board with 1, it's coaching. So this is a very controversial statement I'm going to say, because I love Coach Prime. I love Deion. I've been following him since his days in the NFL when he was at Florida State. He played for my 49ers. Then we have to say this. Yes, there are position coaches on this team. And we got Miss Kaylee says 1. Chop says 2, that he believes it's players. I'm just looking at some of the things that people are saying in the chat room. What's going on? Thank you. Thank you for coming through. We got Price says backup quarterback playing time. Yeah, but who's the backup quarterback? This is the thing. Have they emphasized the backup quarterback? Because there's also people saying that if Shador is hurt, we're hearing this talk on social media that people are thinking that maybe Shador should be set down to rest so that he doesn't have more damage to his body. I don't know how you all think about that. That's very controversial statement for anyone to say. We got Sonny who says it's a combination of 1 and 2 players and coaches. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I got to take some more water because I don't know what was happening. I was talking to you guys and I don't know, maybe dust or something got in my throat and it was really weird. Let me see what Miss Love is saying. She says, love Deion. Some of those coaches on the inside are jealous of Coach Prime as well. Now, I've been hearing that rumor that maybe the coaches are the coach. Now, this is me. This is not, I want to just make this very clear. I'm not reporting this as facts. I'm simply saying allegedly there are people out there that believe that that there are some coaches on this team that could be sabotaging Coach Prime, maybe because like you said, the jealousy. That's alleged in some people's mind. I'm not saying it as facts, right? I don't want to get into the emotions. I want to get into what we know, not what we think we know, but we can always hear the rumors and recognize that some people are going to put that out there. The QB2 started warming up last night, so they were prepared, yes, to put him in if possible. Right. Chop says this. Ain't nobody jealous of Coach Prime. It's simply Prime can't coach. Well, I wouldn't say that he can't coach, brother. You have to, I think it's more to do with the players. What I mean by that is, I don't think he has the dogs that he needs. He is still, as he said, 7 to 8 dogs away. Let me play something for you all. Let me pop something on here. I just want to give you guys a reminder about something, because we gotta be honest. Okay, I'm gonna pop a couple of things I want to play for you. Let me play this for you all. Listen.
Able to go get it. So I've seen that, and I know how we gonna go get it. I know how we gonna go conquer it. I know how we gonna go do it. And we don't need much. All you recruits, where my camera? All you recruits out there, baby, you know I ain't hard to find. We're about 7 to 8 dogs away from just changing the game. 7 to 8.
And when you say changing the game, what does that mean?
That means
when you say what does that mean?
Means when we walk out there, we know what we know. Put my theme music on time we come out the locker room, because you know what we know.
Now, you may look at that as a hype from Coach Prime. You may look at it as, oh, Coach Prime is just hyping. He's just talking. No, it's very true. Coach Prime is 7 to 8 dogs and maybe more away from really turning this thing around. So my attitude is that I'm not just a one-year fan of the team. I'm not just a one-year supporter of Coach Prime. I'm in this for the long haul, Chop. This is the long haul. Of course, they're having problems right now, but I think the bigger vision is where they're going to be when he gets the players that he needs. Nick Saban, when he took over Alabama was not what they are now. It took him a while. They struggled as well. Have y'all forgotten about that? Huh?
If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You just a flat-out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you.
Tell the truth.
That's the truth, y'all. Now, let's be honest. I believe in being an honest broker here. The buck does stop. You have the position coaches, but the buck always stops at the end of the day with the head coach. We don't know what's being said in meetings. We're not privy to things, so that we have to keep that in mind. Now, I want to put up an article. This is what I mean by we're not privy to everything, right? We don't know what Coach Prime is saying to his coaches in the meetings. Not as of yet. Maybe we're going to see this in the Prime movie about CU on Amazon when that comes out. I think that comes out in December of this year. I believe so. We're not privy to certain things. But the buck does stop with the head coach. That is true. Now, I want to put this up here because I want you all to see something right here. I want you all to look this up so that you don't think I'm coming with some make-believe receipts here. I want you to look this up. This is entitled ESPN Analyst Believes that Coach Prime had beef with how Sean Lewis was managing Shedeur Sanders. You know, because Shedeur Sanders has been getting hurt. He's been getting banged up. And a lot of people were saying, what's going on with the offense? Why are they not bringing tight ends in? Why are they not bringing guys in to give Coach or Shedeur Sanders a safety valve, right? Now, this is who I thought was a safety valve. Ask yourself this, ladies and gentlemen, what has happened to Michael Harrison? Where has Michael Harrison gone?
Tell the truth.
Remember, this is a young man who I think is sort of a slash, like he's a hybrid. He's a tight end and he's a wide receiver, somewhere in between, right? But they've been playing him in the tight end slot. Now, he's not big enough or strong enough to be a blocking tight end, of course, but they should be bringing people in like tight ends to help out with blocking. But I want to know, where is this young man at? Because if you look at the games that they've won, that they played well in, Michael Harrison was a big part of some of those wins, making plays down the stretch, making plays because people weren't expecting to see him flash out there. Where has Michael Harrison been? I have not. Where has he gone in the offense? Can someone please, ladies and gentlemen, please, I beg of you, can someone give us an analysis as to what has happened to this young man? He has sort of disappeared from the offense. I want to know what's going on. What has I want to know what happened. Why does it seem like he's not in the mix? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody? What has happened to Michael Harrison? This young man was making key plays. I'm focused on that because he was a safety valve for Shedeur. Shedeur, he was always there. And we don't know what has happened to Harrison, to be correct. His name is Michael Harrison, but they call him Mikey on the team. So the question is, what's really going on? When you look at a statement like this from ESPN analysis believes Coach Prime had beef with Sean Lewis. The way he managed Deion Sanders, Lewis was forced to give up play calling responsibilities prior to the game with Oregon State. Right? That's Sean Lewis right there. Now, he was calling plays last night, but he was giving, those plays were being fed to him by Pat Shurmur, who coached in the NFL. He wasn't by no means was Pat Shurmur an all-star coach in the NFL, meaning he didn't lead, he didn't win any Super Bowls as a head coach or, anything like that nature, but he played in the NFL. He played offensive line, I believe, himself, and they say he knew a little bit about the offensive line. He took over play calling duties last night against that game against Oregon State and CU. But did you see anything that was different last night? Shedeur in his press conference said that he did like the way Pat Shurmur was calling the game. But this is the thing. I'm going to say something controversial here. Is the problem with last night's game, was the problem with this team really Sean Lewis? Because we saw the same problem show their naked head when Pat Shurmur was calling the game last night. We saw some of the same trends. Once again, CU could not protect Shedeur. CU was still having breakdowns on the offensive line. So then you have to be honest, folks. I do question, and I did question the play calls of Sean Lewis. And there's people that think, oh, Sean Lewis is doing this on purpose. But then this is a man who left Kent State, where he had a head coaching gig and created a prolific offense that was putting up big numbers in the FBS. So why would he come to Colorado to only ruin his career if he would do something on purpose like that? But I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see any difference. I saw difference in some of the play calls that were a little bit better, yes. But I don't know if it has to do with the play calling of either Sean Lewis or even a Pat Shurmur last night, when in fact they had the same problems. It gets right back to that offensive line. Why is it that this man right here, look at this right here, folks. I give y'all the analysis. Hear what I'm saying. Coach Bill O'Boyle is the offensive line coach. Why haven't we not heard any criticism of Bill O'Boyle, the offensive line coach on the Colorado Buffaloes coaching staff? This is the list of coaches. And of course, Dennis Thurman is the director of quality control of the defense, and he already jumped out the window and said that he didn't name who the players were. Me and Coach Hayes talked about this last night on his channel, but he did certainly say that there's some players, and they know who they are, who don't have good work study habits, don't have good practice habits, and what have you. But I want to know, why is it that O'Boyle's name hasn't been brought into context here? We're talking about Sean Lewis, whether he's not making the right play calls, and they can be questioned. We can criticize him. But we brought in Pat Shermer, who has NFL experience as a coach. He made some play calls last night that I thought were good, and there were some that were kind of weird too. But it all gets back to the area of reality, and that is the offensive line, folks. The offensive line is really the reason why whatever play call Sean Lewis calls, or even a Pat Shermer at this point, it really doesn't matter if the offensive line can't do what? Execute what's necessary for them to run plays more successfully, or at least cut down on Shador taking all these hits that he's taken. And then Shador, by all means, Shador has to do what? He has to do exactly what he's been telling us in press conferences, which is, I'm holding on to the ball too long and I need to get rid of it a lot more sooner. Yes, indeed. This is how these type of clips and articles come out and creates a lot of issues. And they were asking Coach Prime last night about this whole decision that he made, and you could tell he didn't really want to get into it like that. He made his decision. He said he was going to live with his decision. He wasn't questioning himself. But I want you to look this up for yourself. ESPN analysts believe Coach Prime had beef of how Sean Lewis managed Shador Sanders. Lewis was forced to give up his play calling responsibilities prior to this game that they played last night, and they lost that game last night. What do you think? What do you think about my analysis? If you are picking up on what I'm saying, if you agree with my analysis, how I'm breaking things down, put sevens in the chat room. This does not mean, folks, that we stop believing. It does not mean that I don't believe in the team. It's just that the reality is he doesn't have the dogs that he needs quite yet. He has some great wide receivers. I also want to know what's going on with Tavarius Dawson. What has happened to him? I have a lot of questions, folks. Where has Dotson disappeared to? I want to put his picture up here. Give me just a minute if I can find a photograph of that brother. Here he is right here. Folks, I'm just asking logical questions. Remember when they played against Nebraska, he had a breakout game. That's Tavarius Dotson, who transferred from Auburn University. You'll notice he has been we haven't heard his name called. We haven't seen him make any plays. It's like he has disappeared. I'm wondering what has happened to him. And I said before, Mike Harris, who made a big touchdown against Colorado State, he did some things. We have not heard anything from him, but I want to know what is going on with this young man right here. Boom. Boom. What's happening to him? I would like to know what's going on. Is he injured, folks? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he injured? Is there something personal going on? I have not even remembered. I haven't even hardly seen him even on the field lately. What about you? What are your thoughts? I'm just being honest with you right now. Now, brother Travis Hunter did his thing last night. He had 8 receptions for 98 yards, 1 TD, and his longest run was for 40 yards. What can we say about Travis Hunter? He is him. He is him. He is that man. He's making plays. He is, this guy, we're looking at a professional football player right now. He has all the right stuff. He has all the right stuff, folks. All the right stuff to make things happen. Yes, he does. The brother is dynamic. He makes all the right things happen. Travis Hunter put up 98 yards receiving, 1 TD, made some great plays last night. Let's go over to another dynamic brother here, and that's Xavier Weaver. Same thing with this brother, dynamic player. He had 5 receptions last night for 66 yards. His longest reception was for 36 yards. That was his longest reception last night in that game. So the problem is not receiving. Our problem is not, our receivers are the man. They can do it. That's not the problem. Their numbers would be better than this if Shedeur had more time to get the ball to them. I got to say that Jimmy Horn, okay? Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn had some moments last night where he dropped the ball, a key catch that I think could have helped them. But overall, Jimmy Horn had 2 receptions last night for 28 yards. His longest reception was for 19 yards. Okay? Another thing that I noticed last night, and I've been wondering, why don't they get this young man in the mix a lot more than they have ever since he had that breakout. Ever since he had that breakout game against USC, I don't understand why Amarion. I'm just having some problems with my throat today, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Oh, God. Amarion Miller had 1 catch for 23 yards last night. That shows you that this kid has big play ability. But how can he show his big play ability if Coach Prime and the coaches don't put him in the game more than they have? I just got to be honest about that. We must be honest about that. What are your thoughts about Amarion Miller? Because for him to not be playing in a while, to come into a game, and the first catch he does get against Oregon State last night, he busts it for 23 yards. The kid has skills. The kid needs to play. And damn it, I'm going to be honest with you here again. I'm sick of this. I was hearing rumors that they were putting Kamani McLean on the practicing with the first team. When you're losing games like this and you're getting near the end of the season, you got to see what it is that you got. Coach Prime, come on. You got to put this young man in the game. We talking about Kamani McLean. What do you got to lose? What do we got to lose, Coach Prime? Because the season is coming near the end. The young man probably could give you a spark. Both him and Amarion gave us a spark not too long ago, right, everybody? We got a spark from them against the USC. So why not try it? What you got to lose? Do y'all agree with me or disagree with me, folks? I mean, what they got to lose? They've already been losing games that they could have won. Why not try these young men a little bit more? Now, I know it's all about practice habits, whether they're taking their practice serious, whether they're studying properly. I get that, right? You can't put them out there unprepared. And you can't put them out there if they're not committed. I get it, Coach Prime. But I'm just concerned about where things are going with this football team. in terms of guys on this football team that we don't hear from. Kavasier Smoke. What has happened to Kavasier Smoke? We don't hear anything. We know that Alton wants to redshirt, as I spoke about in the other video. He's going to redshirt. Let's talk about, I think this Levante is the linebacker, everybody. This young man last night, Levante, Lavonta Bentley, this young man last night had 8 tackles and got 1 sack. Let's give him a clap for that. There were good moments. Shador Sanders, y'all all heard this before. Check this out.
Just football nowadays and just watching a lot of football, watching a lot of big hits, you know. And what I came up with is it's really just up to the ref.
Shallow Sanders.
Because even in the NFL, like, they don't always call things like that because everyone has the narrative that football is just getting soft, which is kind of true. But even in the NFL, I've seen some hits that were worse than that, but they didn't call it. So I just think it's up to the ref. And yeah, I'm just one of them players that I just try to have my presence felt when I'm on that field. You know, I want to come in and everybody know what Headache Gang is, you know. So that's how I play. And I don't really think I need to change. Maybe I could go a little lower just to make sure, because I can't do my team like that and not be available for them, not be available to contribute, you know, because I think I could have made a big impact if I was in the game. You know, I just felt like one of them days where I was going to make something happen. So I just have to just play my game. If I get in a situation like that, just know
Ladies and gentlemen, Shallow Sanders last night, he got exactly 8 tackles, okay? He has a total of 40 tackles and 1 interception on the football team, so he's leading this team, and he's one of the leading safeties in the Pac-12 this year with tackles, so he was flying all over the place last night, doing his thing. We got to give him respect. You know, he's doing his thing. He had that bad call, and that audio that I played for you was his opinions about what happened to him against UCLA when they called him for targeting. Now, you do know, folks, and I said this in the podcast that I do, the radio podcast. If you're not sure where to find that at, here we go right here, folks. Check out the radio podcast. You can hear the radio podcast that I do each week listen on Spreaker. You can listen to me on Spotify, the radio podcast that I do, radio style podcast on Spotify. You can also hear me on iHeartRadio podcast, Amazon podcast, and there's probably many more when you put Prime Sports Media in. And of course, you can also go over to Facebook and follow the Facebook page. We got 79,000 people over there. Follow this channel on Facebook at Prime Sports Media Facebook channel, Facebook page to be exact. I also want to give credit to this young man right here. We got Roderick Ward. This young man, Roderick Ward, had 7 tackles, and he also has 31 total tackles on the year. So I try to give you the analysis over here, folks. Give you a good analysis of what's happening and what's happening. What I want to do now is I want to play an audio clip of Coach Prime for a little while to get his point of view about what happened last night. This is a trip, y'all. This is about fair use. This is called fair use and is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does not infringe of the copyright under 17 USC 107, y'all. Here's Coach Prime.
You're missing a whole lot of intangibles that transpired for us to be in this situation right now.
Coach, what was Shador's pain level today? It seemed like right away he's really struggled to move around.
I mean, shoot, he's been hurt. I think he went in to get an injection so he could finish. So it's extraordinary.
That was in the fourth quarter?
Yes, sir.
And then how about halftime?
The kid is tough. He's tough.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
and he don't make any.
we go back. Coach Prime is saying that Shador is tough. He doesn't make excuses. That is true. But we do have to be concerned about the damage that this is doing to Shador psychologically and physically, because we obviously could see that he was hampering and laboring in that game last night, which I think if you look at some of his throws in that game last night, there were throws where Shador was missing his receivers. Now, there were receivers that were dropping balls, but there were times when some of his balls were floating. That's because he's got pain and he's playing in pain. And I believe that he's still in pain from what happened to him against UC. I think what happened in that game against Oregon State, let me know if you think what I'm saying is logical. I think it's a holdover from what he was going through against UCLA, the injuries that he sustained there that carried over against Oregon State, even though Coach Prime this week said he was going to rest him. Let's get back to it.
He wasn't raised like that. We're not making any excuses. We don't do that.
Coach, a follow-up on Sean Keeler, the Denver Post, to follow up on Ariel's question a little bit. What did Pat Shurmur give you in your mind that you felt to make that switch that Sean Lewis couldn't?
We're not going to demean Sean Lewis, sir. We're not going to do that. We're not going to take that tone. Sean is a good man. He's I think he's a good play caller. We just needed change at the time. We just needed to try something else at the time. And that's what we did. And I don't look back on it. I don't second guess myself whatsoever, because it's more to it than what.
So you can see Coach Prime didn't really want to get deep into that conversation. One of the things I can definitely appreciate from Coach Prime is that he didn't want to throw his coach under the bus, because he's already embarrassed enough. You would imagine a guy who came over from Kent State to be possibly a head coach. He has head coaching aspirations. He left a head coaching opportunity there to come to CU. It has to be kind of embarrassing to be demoted to a certain degree like this. But Coach Prime, I think, is a class man, because he says we're not going to set up here and throw him under the bus. But however, Coach Prime, you did demote the man from his play calling duties. And I got to be honest, even though you gave Pat Shurmur the opportunity, there were still some similar problems that even happened under Pat Shurmur as a play caller, because it really goes back, in my opinion, to the heartbeat of a football team, which is the offensive line. And I'm wondering why Bill O'Boyle, the offensive line coach, why is he not getting any heat? Now, I'm not saying, maybe he's getting criticism behind the scenes by you, who knows, by the coaching team, the player, whoever. We don't see that, but I just noticed that his name has not really been put out there, and I just wonder. Let's get back to Coach Prime.
You may know. Okay, so let's just trust the process. Let's just trust the process. Sean is we're not going to demean any coach on his staff by any means. I don't get down like that. I don't move like that.
Hey, Coach, Brian Howard from Bold
Yes, sir.
Camera. With that, notice Tim Brewster didn't have a headset on tonight. Is he the coach that's now an analyst?
Well, yes. You got to understand now, you only get so many coaches in college football. So when you make a move like we made, that means someone has to, I don't call it demotion. I think move, everybody's making the same amount of money. So when you get demoted, that's a hit on your check. So it's a movement that we had to make. I think we use, how many tight ends in the games? So think about that. It's the proper move. You got to think about that.
And follow up with that tight end position. Notice Caleb Fourier has not been around the last couple of weeks. Is he still with this program?
My focus is winning these games, man. It's not who shows up to practice, who doesn't.
What you can see clearly, Coach Prime does not want to get into the the intimacies and the details as to why certain players are not there playing. Jawan Mitchell, who played middle linebacker and pretty well for this team, he has sort of disappeared. I'm wondering where he is at. Is he not on the team anymore? Has he been demoted in his, on the depth chart? The last time someone asked Coach Prime about Jawan Mitchell, he said, you have to go talk to Jawan Mitchell. He also said the same thing about this player in question as well. So you can see Coach Prime doesn't really want to get into the dirty details of what's going on. But it does make one wonder what is happening with certain personnel, whether some guys have been, they're no longer on the team, or they just are not no longer playing because they're injured, or they're no longer desired. Folks, what do you think in the chat room? I'm just bringing the analysis, the situation to bear here. Let's get back to Coach Prime.
Let's talk to Brew about that. Good.
I do have one question formationally about the tight ends. It seems like third down, there were a lot of times tonight where it was kind of you were losing the numbers game at the line of scrimmage. Is the lack of having that type of personnel in the building hurting you guys?
No, I mean it's scheming. You give them a look and you see what they're in, then you call it based on what they're in at sometimes, or you just go with it sometimes.
Everybody in the chat room, can I ask you the honest question? How many of you believe that a lack of a tight end or tight ends being placed in the game, given the fact that Shador has been under a lot of duress? How many of you believe that that's a problem? Do you believe, put ones in the chat room if you believe that them not having the tight end employed on the team or in the game scheme is hurting them, or put a 2 if you don't think it's a problem for them. 2 if you don't think it's a problem at all for us to worry about. 1 if you think it is a legitimate problem for us to be concerned about, particularly when Shador is taking these hits, and that's usually what you do. You bring in an extra tight end for blocking, or you bring in, maybe you have one running back stay in to block. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Let's get back to Prime right now.
We don't have that particular guy that I'm not going to say that. We have some players that are pretty good at what they do. That's just the preference of the OC of the call in the rhythm of the game at the time.
All right, let's see what we have going on. Okay. We've got Ranch Better says 1. Patricia, the mod, my beautiful mod, says 1. TD says 1 extra blocker to help, right? Deep P says 1. Yolanda says 1. Adam says 1. BJ says 1. Jeffrey Boy says 1. So a lot of you agreed that it would help them to have tight ends in the game to help with the blocking scheme. I sort of agree with that. Let me see what 5% is saying. He says they're eating steak and not coming to practice. Well, I don't know anything about that. I don't want to stay in. I want to stay out of speculating and stay what we do know. We can always make an inference of what we think is going on, but we have to remember we don't completely have all the facts as well, folks. We have Roland. Roland is in the house saying, oh, okay, I guess Colorado's sorry defense getting 214 points scored on them in 6 Pac-12 games is Sean Lewis's fault. The whole thing. Well, I never said that everything was Sean Lewis's fault. We simply are saying that he has been making some play calls that are very questionable. And I also said on this video today, this live stream, that even when they brought Pat Shurmur in, who has NFL experience, we saw some of the same similar problems. And I've been very consistent on this channel with saying that I really think that it has a lot to do with, in this case, we believe that it has a lot to do with the players themselves, whether they are talented enough, they're picking up this scheme enough and what have you. And I've also said on this live today that why is it that why is it that the offensive line coach has not garnered a lot of criticism as well. So we've been very fair in this broadcast and very analytical, sir, just so you know. Let's go back to Coach Prime now, folks. Let's go back.
We use the tight end to block, whether he use, if we're going to throw the third ball, I'd rather receiver be out there. That's my preference than a tight end. We got 4 or 5 pretty good guys that can really catch the ball. They can really run good routes. They can really get open. You saw that at the conclusion of the game.
Coach Adam Rittenberg with ESPN. You mentioned a couple of times there's been things behind the scenes maybe we haven't seen with the play call.
That's everybody. It's everybody's life. It's things in your life that I ain't seen. But you're a good guy, though, right?
You have to ask people around. When did you decide to maybe consider making the change? Was it after UCLA, or was it even before that you were looking into it?
I'm not going to disclose all my thoughts, man. I mean, my thoughts are my thoughts. I'm not going to disclose when I make a decision to do something. Just know that I made the decision and I don't stumble or stutter on it, and I'm not looking back. It is what it is, and that's what it's going to be. I make a decision.
As you can see, Coach Prime right there on that analysis is saying that he's not going to give you all the details. But there's something going on, and we know it. We can see it. We can sense it. We're all intelligent people here. There is an issue, and we'll see how this whole thing unfolds during the season. They only have 3 games left in the season, and we'll see how it all unfolds. But let's go over to Shedeur and hear his thoughts about what happened in last night's game, shall we? Let's go over to Shedeur, and this is very important, folks. This is called fair use, and it allows for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does not infringe of the copyright. Okay, the copyright under 17 USC 107, and let's hear what Shedeur has to say.
How much? We keep asking you this the last couple of weeks, but how difficult is this getting for you to keep going through this frustration of the offense not doing what you want it to do, and keep taking the hits and things like that?
I mean, it's one thing that you can't stop losing faith with everything. Just in life, everything's not gonna work out how you want it to be. So you just gotta remain just staying positive and stay not really having no negativity towards the situation, because it's not gonna help anything. This is the situation we're in, so we gotta accept that and move forward.
Tyler King with the.
I just want to say that this shows you the type of character that Shedeur has, that he's taking a beating out there, the sacks, the pressures. The team is not playing at its most best right now, but he's still keeping a good attitude. He's not throwing anyone under the bus. He's not pointing the fingers at coaches. He's not pointing the fingers at the players. He's always being accountable for what he's doing and not doing. We got to give him credit. Given what he has gone through over the course of this season so far and being able to put up the numbers, he's leading the country with 2,882. He's 2,882 yards, 24 TDs, only 3 interceptions on the year. What quarterback, I'm going to say this again that I said in the beginning of this video, what quarterback in the country could put up those numbers and do what he's doing with the type of pressure that he's been under, with an offensive line that has not been consistently giving him protection consistently? Let's get back to Shedeur.
You go back to the locker room. I think it was late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter. What's going through your mind at that point? Is it just do whatever you need to do to get through the game?
Of course, I ain't going there to just dap nobody up and have fun in there. I left, you know, without a lot of.
That was a dumb question by that reporter. You know damn well what the players go into the locker room is usually to be checked by a doctor, more to be deeply examined. Maybe they're getting a shot for pain. Come on now. I don't know why these reporters ask these dumb questions like that. Everybody knows what was going on with Shedeur if you watched the damn game. Come on. Let's go.
Pain in my body. That's it.
Hi, Shedeur. Adam Mustard Tiger, 24/7 Sports with Coach Shermer taking over play calling duties. How has that change look for you as a quarterback?
It's not really a big change. You know, we all in this together. So it's not, we use the same concept, same everything. I mean, it's football. Everybody has the same concepts. It's just different way you see it and different way you read it sometimes, but overall I liked it. So it's either way. It's either way. I ain't really have a preference for everything.
So basically, Shedeur is making it clear that he didn't have an overall preference, but he did like the way Pat Shurmur called the game in comparison to what he has been currently experiencing with Sean Lewis calling the game. But this is not about throwing no one under the bus, but he's just saying that he noticed some nuances in the way Pat called the game. That's important for us to recognize. Let's get back to it.
You know, if that's the decision, just go with it and, you know, execute whoever's calling the plays.
Yeah, you got to execute. That's right.
One to start. Was there any consideration that you wouldn't go back in once you went to the locker room?
Nah, what type of guy would I look like no matter what, leaving all, 80 of us out there hanging? Like, it got to be life or death situation for me to just leave everybody hanging like that. So, just the pain of not being there for them overrides the pain that's going through my body.
And then when you came back, you're essentially on like 1 foot at that point, and you led them down, and you were operating at an even better pace than you were before. I mean, what kind of clicked with the whole offense? Why were you guys better at that point in the fourth quarter?
I just got mad. That's it. When I get mad, then it's just, you know, it's just a different me, because I don't really like taking L's like that. That's something new to me. I don't really like it. No man feel like he's better than me, because that's not the case at all.
So you can see Shedeur Sanders has a lot of pride, everybody. He says, no man is better than me. And he said that. He was very forthright about that. But you could tell underneath everything that Shedeur Sanders was saying in terms of his confidence and, you know, just trying to grind and play the games out, you can tell that there's some frustration there. You can't go under this type of duress, pain, hits that you're taking without having some sort of effect to a certain degree, because we're all human. And this is why I presented this picture when I opened up the show today, because you could tell that Shedeur was very, you know, he was not happy. And why would he be happy if he's taking this type of pressure in a football game of this nature? I thank everybody for coming over and listening to this podcast today. Make sure that you share this in your social media, all your social media, your community tab if you're a content creator. Let's go into let's go into here and see what people are saying. 5% says 2 offensive lines are teddy bears. And we got Larry Williams, who says, if they don't win this next game, then you should set 2 for remainder of the season. Set 2 for the remainder of the season. Are you saying, sir, Larry Williams, that Shedeur should be set down for the remaining season if they don't win the next 2 games? Or be more specific as to what you're saying. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Roland says Sean Lewis left a head coaching job at Kent State to come work under Deion. I bet Sean Lewis regrets that now. Well, anything is possible. Anything is possible, you know. We like I said, we don't know what's happening behind those closed doors, but I'm sure there's a lot being said. Let me see. X-Man says, who is this clown? X-Man, who are you? And who are you talking about is a clown? Are you talking about myself? Because I will block your ass out of this chat room, or my mods will. And you could take that to the bank. So I want you, X-Man, to describe exactly what do you mean by that. Clarify that. And if you don't do it within a minute, you're being blocked the hell out of here. And you'll take that. We can take that to the bank, and I can laugh at you about that right now. You're talking about Deion? Well, okay. X-Man, look, Deion is not a clown. Let's stop that right there, okay? This man is not a clown. Don't. This man has 2 sons, a daughter. All of his kids are successful. They're all doing well for themselves. Have we heard about any of his kids? Shallow, Shador, his daughters? Are we hearing about them being on drugs and alcohol and getting caught up in mischief? No, he's raised his kids. They're doing well. No matter what you think, he has been successful as a player. He has been working with youth way before he started coaching at CU. He's been working with youth. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, has done a lot of great things outside of football, sir. So I don't see him as a clown. He's of one. Did you call Nick Saban a clown when he took over Alabama and he lost games left and right? Did you call Nick Saban a clown when he left Miami? Remember, I can bring up the receipts here. Remember when Nick Saban was supposed to coach the Miami Dolphins and he left them at the altar, jumped on that plane and flew down to Alabama and took the job when he was supposed to be coaching Miami? Did you have that kind of criticism? Did you call him a clown? Did you call him a clown when he left LSU? Left them for debt to go over to where? To Miami. Then turned around and left Miami. See, people forgot about that when it comes to Nick Saban because he's winning right now. Nick Saban took over Alabama and he was losing. Is he a clown now? So you better watch your words. We got to watch what we say because this is only 1 year. I'm going to keep playing this again and playing this again. Here we go.
Because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You just a flat-out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months.
Right, so
something's wrong with you.
So respectfully, X-Men, I don't see Coach Prime as a clown. I just don't like that disrespect because I don't think he's a clown. I think he's taken over a program that was 1-11. It takes time for them to get to where he wants them to be, and he's playing against football teams in the FBS who have been together longer. They have gelled longer. The coaching staff has been established in these programs a lot longer. There's so many things you have to look at. Like I say on this channel, and I say it over and over again, I don't get into the emotions. I get into the logic over here when we look at this thing called college football, Colorado, and Coach Prime. Look at things logically. Logic says they don't have the players they need yet. Let's keep that in mind, X-Man. And I say this to you and everybody in the chat room. I say it to you respectfully. That's all I'm saying. Let's go back in that chat room again. And we got Jeffrey Bay who says this. Time to build anything, time to achieve any goal. Thank you. Very good statement. We got CJ, and I know CJ, you have been very critical of what's been going on at CU. I understand, my brother, and you have every right to have your critical beliefs. You do, right? But we'll see how this all folds out over the next season. So you don't believe no more? No, I believe. We all believe, sir. No, I believe. Now, how can you say I don't believe? If I didn't believe, why would I be doing these videos, these uploads every week and going live whether they win or lose? I've been very consistent, folks. You haven't seen me duck away, right? No, I think we believe, but we also have to be realistic and recognize, Brother CJ, that this is the first year. They're having some problems, and we know that with time, this team can get better. And we know there's going to be some changes after this season. There may be some coaching changes. There may be some personnel changes. We're going to see what happens, CJ. I'm just saying that respectfully, brother. Love says, right, we still believe. Yeah, everybody, if you believe in the chat room, everybody put believe, sevens or believes in the chat room right now. If you believe, I'm going to do it myself. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do it myself. I'm joining you. We got Blue Devil Glean in the house. What's going on, my man? Peace to you. Peace to you, man. Peace to you. Peace to everybody that's here. Let's see what Adams had to say right here. He says, you can put an OT in the tight end spot. That's true. Good point. Good point, Adams. It doesn't have to be a player recruited to be a tight end at the spot. Heck, I've seen defensive tackles put, wow, you're making a very good point. You can have a another offensive lineman check in as a tight end, but just only have them block. You absolutely right. That's a very good point. That's called being creative in the thought process. Larry Scott believes. Yes, right. Let me give it to you, Larry Scott. BJ believe. Hey, BJ, thank you. Thank you, Larry Scott. BJ, thank you for believing. Let me see. Clout Adams says this. Not at Colorado. Too much of a uphill battle. Okay. We got Ernest Sweet. Am I saying your name correct? Ernest Sweet. Well, Sweet says 7. It looks like people believe. We've got my man, the battle, the Battles Believe group. Right. You have to believe. Believe group. Thank you for coming in with that. Give you a clap. And CJ says this. You're getting desperate. I've been saying this. CJ, I don't think anybody's getting desperate. We're being realistic, sir. I think that we can believe. Nothing wrong with that. We have to be realistic. This team doesn't have the players that Coach Prime needs. And CJ, next year, if this CU team comes back stronger and better next year, after learning from this year, and they're able to bring in some better players and they really start to clean up some of these mistakes from this year, CJ, I wonder what you will have to say then. Will you praise this team or will you still be critical? Because the time is coming soon. It takes time. When you take over a college football team that was in a condition that CU was in, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to get the team to where you want. I'm using Nick Saban as an example because Nick Saban took over an Alabama team that was in the dumps. It took him about 3 years to get Alabama to where they are now, winning national championships. Now, CJ, you know that, sir. You watch football. You've seen how teams progress over time. You know that. And they got the young man who I hope they get, Jordan Seaton, who's one of the top offensive left tackles and guards in the country. If they get a young man like him, lights is over. Lights is over. They get young men like that on that offensive line. Mix in some guys with you can clean a lot of ills up. You really can. Just so keep that in mind, CJ. I understand you've been telling people that this is what's gonna happen. I get it, CJ. I get it. We're real over here on the Prime Sports Media channel. I don't get into emotions. I get into realism, and I hear what you're saying, but doesn't change the fact that people over here still believe. All right. I like the play calling that Pat Sherm did. I believe the loss was primarily a result of the offensive skill players not showing up. You're right, because you are absolutely right, Mr. Hillman. You know why you're right? Because what happened last night? You had people dropping footballs. I think Jimmy Horn had a drop here and there. You had guys had some mental lapses. Let me also say this. You know what really hurt us too last night? I got to go back to Anthony Hankerson. I got to go back to him. Let's bring his thumbnail up. Remember the play that Shedeur threw to him? I think it was like a screen. He threw the ball to him in the open field, and he fell to the ground like he's falling right there, and he slipped. They said that he had nothing but real estate. If he had kept his balance and could have started running, he had nothing but real estate ahead of him there. That hurt us last night. Those little nuanced mistakes. You're absolutely right. I wouldn't deny that. I give you a clap. I give you a clap. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Let's go back into, we got Coach G who's in the house who says, Patricia, he's giving love to Patricia. Thank you for coming over, Coach G. Coach G, I was on Coach Hayes' channel last night. I called into his show. Near the end of the show, he wanted me to come up and chop it up with him for a little bit, and it was a great discussion. I hope you had a chance to see that. If not, check out the channel. It's near the end of his broadcast last night where I came on. Not the beginning. It's near the end, close to the end of the show. Let me see. CJ, let's see what CJ was saying. Nick Saban went against better talent. He went again, better talent conference. And yeah, he did go against better talent, but he's able to get better talent, CJ, because he's coaching in where? He's coaching in a football hotbed. He's able to go into Alabama, Georgia. He still can go into Texas. He's still able to go into Florida because all those states are bunched near each other, and he's able to get in there and get those big boys. And they got and they gave him resources. So I get what you're saying, CJ, but it doesn't matter if he went against better talent. What do you? The truth of the matter is, CU is playing against teams that are better than they are even in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is not the SEC, but we can see it right before our eyes. These teams that are beating CU are actually they actually have a little bit more going for them. They have better offensive lines. They're running the ball better. Let's just keep it real. We got to be honest here. Come on now. Let me read. Thank you for everyone. Yeah, thank you for coming over too. Let's go with Seth. Marie says this team is coming off a 1-11. Exactly. So they already made progress. That defensive line is too light and gets pushed over the field. They get pushed around. You're absolutely right. A clap to you. Let's see. We got 5 Nation 71 says, I love Coach Prime, but he has to manage this thing better. I want them to win. He has pieces in the backfield. He refuses to use them. Hey, that's a very good point. I've been wondering why more guys are not being used in a rotation. I said Mario Miller, he caught one pass yesterday for 23 yards. I think he needs to be in the mix more than he has been as a receiver, as a young freshman receiver. Roland says Nick Saban won a national championship at LSU before he got to Alabama. Yeah, he did, but my point is he left them after they were already winning to run over to the NFL, right? Because he's chasing money, and I ain't hating on that. And when he was supposed to coach the Miami Dolphins, he left them at the altar and ran his butt down to Alabama. And he turned them into a winning program. But when he took them, it took him at least 3 years. My point being, this is the first year for Coach Prime. So it's going to take him a couple more to get this program to where it's at. It's going to take a while for them to be a power pack team. That takes time. Come on now. And he already says he's got guys calling his phone off the hook that want to come and play there. Mark my word, you're going to have some guys that are going to lead some other programs that are good players that are going to come to see you. Mark my word. And then most of you guys that are hating, I want to see what you got to say when you see a bunch of guys who either transfer in, who come in as freshmen, and they get that playing time that they need. They get to jail. This team is going to jail with time. Let's just keep it real. Yeah, they got to get more beef on the defensive line too. Totally agree with that. The defense, but you are the truth. Seth says this, unlike the top teams, Colorado has not played a cupcake schedule. Right. Their schedule hasn't been cupcake. Matter of fact, see, you know what, Seth, you speaking truth. Have you all forgotten that that the Pac-12 conference has been one of the better conferences this year in college football, with a lot of teams that were ranked in the top 25? Come on. Oregon is not a pushover. They played a number 16th ranked team in the country last night. UCLA, I think when they played UCLA, was UCLA ranked 17th or 23rd? They're playing against talented teams that have quarterbacks, man. Thank you for that reminder. We got Griffin Notary Services LLC says all in with Coach Prime. I'm all in too. Thank you. Larry Williams, strength in schedule. The strength of schedule for CU has been a monster. Yes. And you know, next year their schedule may be easier, may get tougher. Who knows? Come on now, folks. We got Empress Goddess in the house. Thank you. CJ, man, you may see it as an excuse, but nothing that we've said today is a lie, CJ. Now, come on, sir. Nothing that we've said has been a lie. Aaron, you may say it's an excuse, but you can't say it's a lie, sir, because you know what we're saying has validity, even though you don't want to accept it because you simply want to enjoy the fact that, hey, I told you guys that it was going to be this, and now that it looks like it's what you have predicted, you want validation. And we're not validating you because we're saying, hey, we still see a bigger picture for the team. And I understand, brother. You have the right to your thoughts, your opinions. I get it. But guess what? This is just the first year. First year. I want to see what you say when they have a better season next year. I want to see if you have that same energy, CJ. Just saying, brother. No disrespect. Aaron Johnson says, hi. He says, Freeze at Alabama has the same record as Coach Prime. Freeze, way better talent on his team. Plus, Freeze has been a college. Thank you. You making sense here. Right. Freeze got better talent than Coach Prime, but he has the same record. Now, I understand people are going to say, well, see, he's in the SEC. Yes, I know that. But CU has been playing more ranked teams in the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 was loaded with ranked teams. You're talking about Washington. They're a world beater. We're talking about USC. Okay, now they've had some problems, a couple games here and there. We're talking about UCLA. We're talking about Washington. These teams can play some football. Utah is not a pushover team. They're going to be playing Utah last game of the season. Come on now, let's be realistic here, folks. Come on. If you know football, you know what I'm saying is I'm telling the truth. Put sevens in the chat room if you believe. If you know what we're saying is the truth, put them damn sevens in that chat room. Eli W says Vegas had CU winning 3 games this year. Where did all these lofty expectations come from? Well, sir, they have won more than 3 games. They're 4-5. So they've already beat the expectations of Las Vegas, sir. Okay?
Tell the truth.
Thank you, everybody, for those sevens. This is a spiritual number, y'all. Spiritual number. We got Coach K who says it's sad to see talented players get hung out to dry over fundamental coaching errors. Run the damn ball. Correct. No. Hey, I brought it up earlier in this podcast that the buck does stop with the head coach. In this case, it would be Coach Prime. They got to fix these problems. I did take a vote today with people in the chat room to see, do you think the problem with this team is mainly the coaching of the players? Some people had mixed reviews about it. I do think that the players are playing a role in some of these problems on this team, but the coaches are supposed to put these players in the right situation and positions to be successful. So I agree with that. Let me see. Adam said that Vegas actually had it 3.5 games, but whatever. Right. Let me see. Coach G says, can you allow a live chat? Can you allow a live chat? What do you mean by that, Coach G? Oh, you mean the call-in number? Yeah. Oh, everybody, check this out. Yeah, I do plan to do that. I wanted to do it today, but I just haven't had time to set the system up. Yes, I do plan to set up a phone system to have you all. And CJ, I want you to call in, CJ. You know I'm on top of you, CJ. And you know I'm on you, CJ. Yeah, I am going to do a phone call podcast with you guys where I'm going to have you all call in, give your thoughts and opinions about what you see is happening with the team. Maybe I can do that next week, or maybe I'll do that next week or the week after. We'll figure it out. I will do a live call with you and give you a number, put a number on the screen, have you call in, give your thoughts and your analysis, just like what Coach Hayes does on his channel. I'll be doing that very, very soon. So Coach G, thank you for bringing that up about a live chat. It's coming soon, folks, for all of you to call in on a conference call and give your thoughts and opinion. That's coming very soon. before these games are all over. None of CU's losers were blowouts. Yeah, they didn't get, no, the only game, Sonny, that was a blowout, truly a blowout, was the game against Oregon State. I mean, no, Oregon. That's the only team this year, I'm glad you said that truly blew this football team off the field. Every other game that they lost were games that they could have tied, they could have won, but they let the penalties, the bad decision-making get in the way, and Shedeur, for the most part, didn't have the time to get the ball out of his hands to make magic happen. This is a fact. Jen, thank you for coming over, Jen. Yeah, CJ, when I do that live thing, that live chat, that call-in show, I expect you, CJ, to call in. CJ, I'm challenging you here. You're not ready for these facts. You've been in your feeling. No, I'm not in my feelings, CJ. I'm very logical. I'm very logical. So what we're going to do, CJ, is when I do that live show with live chat, call in, I'm expecting you to be here and I'm expecting you to call in. Now, when you call in, we're going to have a very intelligent conversation and you speak your facts and I'm going to speak my facts. It's just that simple, CJ. Is that okay, sir? And I thank you for coming over and supporting the channel, CJ. I really do. Blue Devil Glean, CJ's not ready for look, hey, Glean, Blue Devil, you know who, hey, Blue Devil, check this out. CJ don't really know who I am on these YouTube streets. People know me as the information man. You better go ask somebody. My political, critical analysis, social and political and cultural channel that I do on the Information Man Show, he doesn't know that I'm one of the best debaters on these YouTube streets. So he don't know. I was on the Sunday Rumble back in the day on O'Shea's channel. Remember the Sunday Rumble, Blue Devil? So you better tell CJ he don't really know what he's stepping into with me, because I debated with the best of them on these YouTube streets, and particularly in Black YouTube. I've debated with some of the best well-known YouTubers in Black YouTube. He doesn't know that. That's why he gonna get that's why I can bring some smoke, but I can also bring logic, calm conversation, and good conversation that we can both learn from. So I want to learn from what CJ has to say, and hopefully he'll learn from my points, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle, CJ, right? So, you know, CJ, we'll see. He says, nah. So CJ, no, it's all in, look, CJ, it's all in good fun, brother. We're going to have a conversation live on these YouTube streets, on this show, and you're going to make your points. I'm going to make my points, and we'll see where we meet in the middle, brother. You know, and CJ, you can't deny that I've been very open and honest about the ills and the problems of this team, CJ. Now, you know that I have been critical. I've been critical today about last night's game in this broadcast. Now, you know I have, CJ. Come on now. Give me some credit, brother. Some credit there. And let me see. Empress Goddess, how you doing? Let me see. Can't call it how we see it. Yeah, I'll do a call-in show. Maybe I'll do the call-in show since I think people are ready for it. We'll do a call-in show next Sunday. I'll set everything up for the call-in show, and we'll do a call-in show maybe the week after that. Maybe for the last 3 games of the season, I'll make it a call-in show if y'all like that. Because I think y'all deserve that, because you guys have been supporting this channel. And the truth of the matter is, we need to hear the voices of the people, right? And so therefore, it's time to make that happen. And I want to say to Patricia, thank you for rocking with me, my sister. Thank you for coming over when you can and rocking with the channel and modding and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate you. I got to give you a clap. Adams Hurley, I think most Buffalo fans know we need to run the ball more, but when Deion gonna realize that? Woo, yeah. we need to run the ball more. And you're not going to get no argument or no disagreement from me. You know, I don't know what's going. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear what Coach Prime is saying in the meetings to the coaches, to read his mind and know what he's thinking. And I'm not going to pretend that I know what the brother is thinking. I just wish there was some kind of way in these last 3 games that they could be more dedicated to the running game. That's all I'm saying, brother. Coach Prime. That's all any of us are really saying. We really want you to be successful. We want the program to be successful. We want everything to work out, Coach Prime. But a lot of us as fans of what's going on, we have questions. We have concerns. And we know that at the end of the day that the buck does stop with the head coach, and there is criticism. And I just hope that things can turn around. You know what I mean, everybody? Okay. Need to run the ball 30 times a game, period. 30 times should be the goal. Nothing wrong with going under center out of the I formation. Okay. Very good points. CJ, Larry William, you must be one of the CU cheerleaders. Don't worry, folks. We're going to have that live chat for everybody to call in and give their thoughts. Everybody, I've got to end the broadcast. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. Share this video on all your social media. Share in your community tab for your content creator. We'll get back to this situation very soon. Let's cook that man, put in that work. They got to let him cook. Yeah, sometimes cooking takes a little bit of a while, right? You got to cut the food and you got to season the food properly. You got to boil what, you got to make, to me, Coach Prime is creating what I call a soup. And a soup takes time, right? You got to put the seasoning in that soup. You got to cut the vegetables, put your meat in there. You got to take your time. You got to test that soup. You got to put a good broth in that soup. And so look at it like that. Coach Prime is still trying to refine this soup. He's trying to find the right ingredients. And so we got to understand that I know we live in a world today where everybody wants everything to be instant this and instant that. And I know people are saying these things like CJ because Coach Prime really hyped everything up about we're going to win right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now. Okay, he said these things. He gave great speeches. Things didn't turn out the way we all were expecting it, but at the same time, it still takes time to build a football team. It does. Whether it be the NFL, whether it be high school, whatever, it takes time. Now, you may say that that's an excuse, but you can't say that it's a lie. You see what I'm saying? And we're all entitled to our own opinion, but we're not all entitled to our own facts.
Tell the truth.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to give it all a great, great clap. I want to thank you. I want to really thank you all for what you do to make this channel do what it does. Make sure you share this video, subscribe to the channel, be a part of what we got going on over here. I really appreciate you. Peace, everybody. Peace. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Do you believe?
and what's going to transpire over the next several months. Something wrong with you. Because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you lost your mind. You're just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months.
Sports Media, baby.
Flat out hate. You can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months. Something's wrong with you. Because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you lost your mind. You're just a flat out hate. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months. Something's wrong with you. Because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you lost your mind. Just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're just a flat out hater. You can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months. Something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind.
Sports Media, baby.
If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming,
Have a good day and a good night and good weekend. I'll be back with more presentation. Shout out to Coach Hayes, shout out to Life and Football, shout out to Days, Talk Buffs, and everybody out there, Chico, Big Dog.
If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you. And because we understand what's coming. If you can't see what's coming